Hello, everyone, and welcome back to Politics Now. We're talking about modern politics in modern America. And today, Biden continues to fall in the polls, and it is becoming extremely close when it comes to winning not only the general election, but winning the popular vote, which will be a nightmare for Biden to actually win now. So, yeah, let's get into that. So, if you are a Democrat running for president, ever since Obama's win in 2008, you need to win the popular vote in order to have any shot at winning the election. And even winning the popular vote, as proved in 2016, that also doesn't guarantee you'll win. If you win the popular vote, you are not going to win 100% of the time. And especially as a Democrat, you should be able to win the popular vote because your base is in big cities, and that's where a lot of the population and they are in those big cities who those are your voter base. And if you can turn those people out, you should win the popular vote. It should be fairly easy to win the popular vote. Hillary Clinton even won the popular vote, and she didn't even win the general election. But now, Biden is under threat of losing that popular vote to Trump, who has never done well in the polls, but now has Biden under 1 point in terms of his difference between dead even and Biden. And he's only up point 0.8, which is well within the margin of error. That is extremely close. And that shows that not only is the general election going to be extremely competitive and not to Biden's benefit at all, but it also shows that the popular vote is now under threat from being taken away from the Democrats for the first time in 20 years. And of all people, Trump is going to win that popular vote, which, if Trump wins the popular vote, he's going to have a much, much easier time at winning that electoral college vote. And he is going to absolutely sweep in a lot of these states if he can win that popular vote. I'm talking Wisconsin, Nevada, probably even Pennsylvania, these more Republican friendly swing states, he's going to have a lot easier time winning those. And if he wins those three, he won the election. He has his 270. He has won the presidency. So Biden needs to either rework his campaign, figure something out, because he is under threat of losing the popular vote to someone who has never done well in the polls. Even in 2016, he was far down in the polls. 2020, he was also very far down in the polls. He was never beating Biden in the 2020 polls. And yes, the margin of error was tilted towards Trump. But now it's within the margin of error that the polls could swing Trump. And they might already be swinging Trump because it's within such a minuscule difference of Biden plus point 0.8 that any poll now could completely flip it towards Trump plus 1 or Trump plus 2. That is what we're talking about. It is on a knife's edge. It is on a razor's edge. Once this Yahoo News poll that has Biden up 6, which that's not right at all. He's not up 6 points in an outlier poll. That's an outlier. Once you take that out, Trump is actually beating Biden in a lot of these polls because Biden, he only has plus 1 in a lot of these polls, and a lot of them, he still has a tie, and he's losing to Trump in a couple of these polls. And once more polling is done, it's likely that Trump will be winning in a lot more polls than he is right now. So if he does do that, then it might be a spread of Trump plus 1, Trump plus 2, maybe even Trump plus 3. And if it is beyond the margin of error, if Trump ends up winning maybe Trump plus 4 in the spread in the polls, that's not even within the margin of error anymore. You would have to have a 2016 style margin of error for Biden to actually win in the polls despite expectations if it gets to that point. And now it's under serious threat of getting to there. So, Biden, you're just going to need to figure out what to do because at this rate, you are going to lose. You are going to be the sorest loser of all time, and you're going to lose the popular vote if you don't get your shit under wraps and you don't focus on winning the election. Because Trump, he's got his strategy fully put out. He's got a amazing strategy and he's putting that into action. He is pulling out all of the cards that he developed during 2016. He isn't doing the 2020 thing where he just sort of sits there and whines about the media. No, he's going full attack mode. He's learned from his past elections and he has refined it to a even better strategy. So now that Biden is going up against that and now Trump is not on easy mode like he was in 2020, Biden is going to have to work his ass off to beat Trump because now Trump voters are even more galvanized to go vote for him in a lot of these swing states because not only is Biden the sitting president and he hasn't done a lot of crap that has been beneficial towards a lot of people, but he also is Trump is not president and he's stirring up a fuss and he's getting arrested with that mugshot, which that mugshot will be a complete detriment to the Biden campaign because that mugshot is going to go extremely far and it is only going to galvanize people to vote for Trump even harder than they were in 2016 and 2020. Then if that actually happens, if Trump voters are that galvanized that they will vote in mass waves like they did in 2016 in a lot of these states, then that's going to spell doom for Biden because if Biden, which he isn't very well liked by Democrats or independents, if he can't turn those people out because they don't like him, then yeah, you're really going to be under threat of not only losing the general election, but you're going to be under threat of losing the popular vote, which if you can't win the popular vote as a Democrat, I'm sorry, but you're probably going to lose. You are making your odds that much worse by not winning the popular vote. And if you're a Republican now, if you win the popular vote, that is going to be a major win for you. You could even lose the general election, but by winning the popular vote, that would be a major, major win. Even if you lose by like a point or two, if you lose by a point or two in the general election, the electoral college, if you still end up losing, which I mean, how did you lose the general election as a Republican but you still won the popular vote? That it doesn't make any sense. But still, winning the popular vote will be even more significant than winning the electoral college for the Republicans because if they can pull that off, if Trump can pull off that and win the popular vote with Democrats and Democrat friendly independents staying home because they don't like Biden, or maybe even the third parties ruin his campaign by splitting the ticket and favoring Trump in a lot of these swing states, specifically Michigan. Michigan, the third parties are most likely going to screw over Biden there, which Michigan is a pretty Democrat friendly swing state, so third parties are not going to be necessarily beneficial to Biden. But if he can pull that off, if Trump can win the popular vote and win the electoral college, that's a huge win. That is a massive win for Trump. And that is going to be a complete detriment to Biden and his reputation if he somehow loses the popular vote, which that's terrible. That is that would possibly be the worst part of his political career is the fact that he lost the popular vote as a Democrat, and a Democrat hasn't lost the popular vote in 20 years. You ended the 20-year streak. So, Biden, you need to work on a lot of stuff because looking at your popularity ratings, you're not going too well. And look at this crap. Ever since the withdrawal from Afghanistan, constant disapproval. He's been in double digit disapproval for quite a while. Ever since maybe about November in 2021, he's been in double digit disapprovals. He's at 12.5 right now, which it's pretty much been a straight line of disapproval the entire time. And if that carries on until the election, you betcha a ton of people are going to be staying home who would vote for Biden if this was still 2020. But with that massive disapproval, you are not going to turn out a lot of voters that voted for you initially, but aren't going to vote for you because they hate you. So he is very, very unliked. He is very, very unpopular, which will only help Trump in the polls and the popular vote even more if a lot of these people don't have faith in Biden and a lot of them don't vote. So if he can turn out his voters and Trump is even more motivated to turn out his, it's going to be a disaster for Biden because Trump, he has a stranglehold over the Republican vote. You look at the primary polls, he's beating DeSantis by 40. DeSantis is at 13 points. It's pretty obvious who's going to be the nominee, and he has maintained relatively consistent support throughout the entire primary polling. He's been at around high 40 and low 50s the entire time. And his main opponent is currently sitting at 13 points. So I don't really think that he's going to have that much of a problem securing the nomination or unifying the party. Because if your main opponent is at 13 points and you have a bunch of other people who are like at 4 or 5 or 3 or 2, you're you're going to have a pretty easy shot at winning the nomination and getting everyone behind you. Trump's real enemy is not Biden. It's fighting the Republican establishment and making sure that they don't fuck it up somehow because a, a lot of Biden's win is going to be on the Republican Party somehow fucking it up, kind of like how they did in 2022 where they had everything going for them and they still fucked it up. And that might be what causes Trump to lose because the Republican Party establishment is incredibly incompetent, especially in places like Michigan and a lot of these other swing states. They are very incompetent, and they take relatively easy candidates. They could probably be successful and win an election, and somehow make them lose by almost double-digit standards in Republican-friendly states. These are the people who lost the West Virginian Senate race to Democrats in a Trump plus 40 state and a Republican plus 35 state. That is embarrassing. And Trump, he has that stranglehold. He has that white working class base that he can pull on. And really, he needs to fight against the Republican Party and the establishment in order to pull that base out and win. But yeah, Biden, you're going to have a tough time winning. And Trump, you're also going to have a tough time winning, but not as tough as Biden. Because looking at the polls right now, Trump has much more favorable conditions for him to win. So leave in the comments who you think could win 2024. Will it be Trump or will it be Biden? And yeah, I'll see you guys next time. Bye.